Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the NADA report. Today is Sunday, April 5th, 2026. We've got a story that is so absurd, so perfectly symbolic, that it belongs in the Museum of Modern Left-Wing Delusion. Because this is not just the story of one influencer making a stupid decision. This is the story of an entire mindset blowing up in real time. Not long ago, this woman got online and did what so many spoiled, self-righteous activists love to do. She trashed the United States. Called it a dump. Called it racist, corrupt, toxic, unlivable. The usual script. America, according to her, was basically beyond redemption. And because performative outrage always demands a dramatic gesture, she decided to prove how serious she was. So she sold the house, got rid of the car, quit the job, packed up her husband and her 4-year-old son, and proudly announced that the family was fleeing the evil empire and heading to Mexico. Why Mexico? Because in her fantasy, Mexico was paradise. Cheap healthcare, real food, tropical beauty, diversity, freedom from Trump. In her mind, she wasn't just moving, she was escaping oppression. She was one more enlightened soul breaking free from the horror of American life. And of course, the comment section ate it up. People praised her courage, praised her awakening, praised her for abandoning the country that had, quite literally, given her the stability and comfort from which to complain in the first place. But then reality hit. And reality does not care about your ideology. In less than 2 months, in just 60 days, this same woman showed up online again. Only this time, the smugness was gone. The moral superiority was gone. The revolutionary confidence was gone. Now she was crying. Now she was desperate.
What do I do when a lot of my family and friends are trying to convince me to not move to Mexico? Mainly my husband's family. Like, we can sit and list the long-ass list of pros with, like, very little cons, but the cons are just thrown. And that's like the only thing they see. How we're gonna get a job, how we're gonna make money. And the thing is, my husband's family is Mexican. They've lived in Mexico, but the area that they lived in is nothing like the area we're moving to. Like, it's not even comparable. Like, how is it that Mexicans have fallen for American propaganda of Mexico? Because where we're moving is amazing. It's thriving. We're moving to Playa del Carmen, Mexico. It's like 30 minutes from Cancun. They're acting like where we're moving isn't safe or livable. We want our kids to be a majority, not a minority. I want to be a majority and not a minority. Real food, affordable healthcare, tropical beaches, jungle, not having to fear for our safety due to racism, diversity, Trump not being our president. It's affordable and we can live comfortably. Like, what about that isn't worth it? Like, I'm confused. We were finally able to escape the United States and we're having to move back already. Not even 2 months after. The reason being that our 4-year-old son got extremely sick the first week that we were here. He had a terrible fever, was throwing up blood, terrible diarrhea. His whole body was in terrible pain. He was screaming in pain and agony for days. Even after we took him to the doctor and they gave him different medication, he ended up having a bacterial infection in his stomach and his body. And since then, he has recovered, but he's still having really bad lingering problems. And we're starting to think that he has an autoimmune disorder. So with that, we're having to go to the States to get him the proper care. We've had to spend hundreds, thousands of dollars out of pocket that we were not planning on. So now, we're going back to the United States to get our son the care that he needs. And we're having to let go of this dream of living here in Mexico. Are we gonna get a bunch of I told you so's? Probably. But there was no way that we could prevent our son getting this sick. We were not expecting these hospital bills, medication. I feel really fucking sad because we got rid of everything in the United States. We got rid of our home, our car, our jobs, and we left so much just to have to go home and restart with nothing. Pray for us. Send us good vibes, please, because we really do need it.
Now she was saying they had to go back to the United States. What happened? Her 4-year-old son got seriously sick in the first week after arriving in Mexico. High fever, vomiting, throwing up blood, severe diarrhea, widespread pain. The child was screaming in agony for days. This was not some travel inconvenience. This was not culture shock. This was a real medical crisis. And suddenly, all the slogans stopped working. Suddenly, the romantic fantasy collapsed. Suddenly, the beaches and tropical vibes and anti-America attitude did not mean a thing. Because when your child is in agony, you are no longer living in an ideological TikTok video. You are living in reality. And reality is where systems matter. Reality is where hospitals matter. Reality is where medical infrastructure matters. Reality is where competence matters. She had spent all that time talking about affordable health care. But when things got serious, the fairy tale ended fast. Public care was slow. Private care was expensive. Bills piled up. The panic set in. And the country she had mocked, insulted, and run away from suddenly became the one place she trusted to save her son. That is the punchline. The woman who called America a dump now needs America. The woman who fled America now depends on America. The woman who acted like she was morally above America now comes crawling back to the very system she sneered at. And let's talk about the arrogance for a second, because this part is incredible. Her husband's family is Mexican. People who actually understood the local reality warned her not to romanticize the move. They warned her not to assume life there would work like a filtered social media fantasy. They warned her not to be naive. And what did she do? She dismissed them, brushed them off, basically treated them as if they were brainwashed by American propaganda. Imagine that level of arrogance, a comfortable American middle-class progressive, insulated by the very civilization she despises, lecturing people with actual lived experience and telling them what life is really like. That is not courage. That is not open-mindedness. That is elite ignorance wrapped in self-congratulation. And when the consequences finally arrived, she did what people like this always do. She ran back to the system she claims to hate. Because that is the dirty little secret behind so much left-wing performance politics. They hate America right up until they need America. They mock institutions right up until they need institutions. They attack order, structure, borders, law, medicine, and national identity right up until their own comfort, safety, or survival is on the line. Then suddenly, they remember what civilization is for. And I want you to notice something else. When she attacked America, it was all ideology. When she came back begging for help, it was all biology. That is the part no amount of activism can hide. A sick child does not care about hashtags. A medical emergency does not care about your political tribe. Pain does not care about your fashionable worldview. The body has a way of humiliating the lie. And that is exactly what happened here. All the anti-Trump moral theater, all the anti-American outrage, all the glamorous fleeing to paradise energy, it all got crushed by one brutal fact. When life and death become real, people trust functioning systems, not political fantasies. This is why so many ordinary Americans are sick of this nonsense. They are sick of being lectured by people who enjoy every benefit of the country while endlessly trashing it. They are sick of wealthy or comfortable progressives pretending America is unbearable while using American medicine, American law, American infrastructure, American money, and American stability as their backup plan. They are sick of people treating the nation like a hotel they can insult on the way out and exploit on the way back in. Because that is what this is. This woman did not discover wisdom. She discovered consequences. She did not make a brave stand. She made a reckless gamble with her family's future. And when the bet went bad, she wanted back into the very system she had condemned. That is not noble. That is not inspiring. That is pathetic. And it tells you everything you need to know about the difference between ideology and reality. Ideology says America is the problem. Reality says America is still the place people run back to when things fall apart. Ideology says civilization is oppressive. Reality says civilization is what keeps your child alive. Ideology says all systems are equally flawed. Reality says some systems are built, maintained, funded, and protected better than others. And that difference becomes very obvious when your family is in crisis. So yes, people are laughing at this story. And they should. Because it exposes the fraud. It exposes the emptiness. It exposes the childish fantasy that you can sneer at order, mock responsibility, reject gratitude, and still expect the benefits of a serious country whenever you need rescue. To this influencer, I have a simple message. Welcome back to the dump. The same dump with the doctors you now trust. The same dump with the hospitals you now need. The same dump with the science, the specialists, and the institutions you suddenly cannot live without. Maybe next time, before you spit on the country that made your comfortable life possible, you should remember that your child's survival depends a lot more on reality than on your politics. You can have opinions. You can hate Trump. You can complain all day long. But if you are reckless enough to gamble your family's safety on an ideological tantrum, do not act shocked when reality humiliates you in public. So what do you think? What should people make of Americans who trash their own country, glorify an escape fantasy, and then come crawling back the moment real life punches them in the face? Let me know in the comments. This is the NADA report. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like, subscribe, and share. I'll see you next time.